Hi, this is Ali from the Intimacy Curator, and we have together with us Rubber Pup. So, Rubber Pup has been active in the BDSM community for about 11 years, and he's active both east and west coast of the US. Um, he is known to be a very good pup, or a good boy, good dog. So,
Oh, thank
welcome,
you.
Rubber Pup.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for taking time to speak to us. So tell us a little bit about your journey of pop. How did it start, and how did you figure out that you were this good boy?
Sure. I've known I was kinky since I was very young. When I turned 18, I joined my local BDSM scene. At the time, I was living in Boston. Um, and shortly after I joined, it was discovered that I was a pup. Very quickly, I found that the easiest way to make me kind of just fall apart and melt is to have my head scratched and be pet. And then from there, I discovered puppy play and other forms of pet play. And, I slowly found a community in Boston. And then when I moved to LA, I was able to find a very large community of pet players. As a pup, for me, what I really enjoy is really getting to turn my brain off and just act like a puppy. I love just kind of being silly and being pet and receiving that affection and attention that puppies get. I do a little bit of training with some of my partners, but for me, it's really about just turning my brain off for a little bit and getting to be a dog and just kind of focusing on what's right in front of me instead of, worrying about bills or worrying about, things like that. One of my partners right now is my handler, my trainer. So we work together to do lots of obedience training, tricks, things like fetch, things like, staying in line with her, following at her heel, or things like recently I was part of a dog show, which was very fun. So we had a lot of events like agility courses and obstacle courses and things like seeing eye dog trials and scent trials where I had to use my nose and figure out what scent belonged to what object. So we were able to do a little bit more of a structured training that way, which was really fun. But a lot of the times when we play, it's much more cuddling and petting and maybe fetch with a ball, but nothing that's so structured, which is what I really like about pet play and I mean BDSM in general is really kind of what you make of it. So you can kind of do it your way to an extent, which has been really fun. So everybody plays a little bit differently. There's no real right one way to play. Some people, it's definitely much more about that structure and about the training. And then for others, it's just about being cute and affectionate and just enjoying that attention.
So do you date outside of the BDSM scene? How do you talk to vanilla people or people that you meet online about your kinks, the fact that you're a pup, you're a sub? How do you do it?
I generally, um, I'm trying to date within the BDSM community for that reason, but I use online dating. I do date in the vanilla world. And again, that is a conversation, that is communication. And, sometimes people are receptive to it. Sometimes they're curious. Sometimes they have no idea. And sometimes they just like really not their thing. And that's just kind of the end of where that, if I'm talking to someone new, that's kind of where the end of that goes. Um, I've had some people before have very negative reactions to it, but I've also had very positive reactions to it. So it really does depend on the person, and it's all communication. My close friends know, and sometimes they ask me questions. Sometimes they're interested. Sometimes they just really don't want to know because maybe it's too much for them. Um, but generally, you know, people in my life are either a part of this or they're supportive of it, or at the very least, they're indifferent to it. But it is a communication, and it is sometimes a challenge. Because I've definitely had a situation where someone found out that I was kinky and they did not have a reaction to it. I say, but it would come up early. because you don't want to, you don't want to invest and then have that happen, or and also on their end, that is a big reveal, or it can be a big reveal. Um, so yeah, I would try to make sure that that's something I would say early on in the beginning of a relationship, but I wouldn't necessarily say that's a first date conversation.
So do you tell them in your first conversation? How do you tell them and what do you tell them?
My dating profiles do mention that I'm kinky. There's not a lot of detail as to what that means, and no photos, of course, but that is right there on my dating profile, so people are aware of it. And that's one of the reasons why I put that on my profile. But generally, yeah, that conversation would happen pretty early on, maybe not first date, but shortly after that. And, I'd say, if we're going to get serious or something, you need to know this is part of who I am. This is part of the way I play. And for me personally, this doesn't necessarily apply to everyone. For me, especially in a polyamorous relationship, that doesn't need to be part of every relationship I have. But still something that people should know about because especially if I'm with a partner that I want to be very close with, I want them to at least know all about me.
Okay, and what's the importance of the BDSM community or having community around you to support you? How important is it for you?
Actually, it's very important. When I first got my start journeying into BDSM, when I was in Boston on the East Coast, community was the first thing I sought out because, before that, I had been looking online at things and kind of doing some research and doing um, just some investigation there. But I found FetLife, and from FetLife, I was able to find the Boston scene, and specifically the Boston TNG, the next generation is what they call it. But it's a group for 18 to 35-year-olds. So I was not only finding my community, but I was finding peers within my community, people my age within my community. And I was able to make some very good friends and go to events and go to parties and learn and grow. And then when I moved out to California, I was just a full-fledged gangster ready to jump in, and I started making friends and I found the community here. And then shortly after finding the community here, a pet play group started. And with this little group grew and grew and grew. They're called soul creatures, like because they're wonderful and they're my friends. And they are a pet play group here in Southern California. And I found them, and through them, I've been able to meet lots of new people and make friends and partners and really grow and learn, especially as a pup, especially as a pet player, not just as a kinkster. Um, and that community has been really wonderful. They are my friends. They are the people that I can confide in with certain things, especially when it comes to kink. They are the people I hang out with, not at pet play events, not at kink events sometimes even. And because of that community, I'm able to feel more comfortable in my own skin, feel comfortable in my rubber skin, and just kind of feel free to be myself. More popular. I'm seeing these groups sprout up around Southern California, around the East Coast, around the middle of the country, around the world. And it's been really cool. It's cool to see that people can connect on something that, a lot of people would say is very niche or it's very different or unique or weird. Some people might say that. But we're able to come together and say that's fine. And we support each other and we understand. And that's been really great.
A post the other day on Pet Play. Did you feel represented by the post? And is there anything else you would like to see on platforms on Pet Play?
Nice introducing new people to something like this because not only is it a very niche thing that people do, but even within the BDSM community, this is a little more niche. This is something that not everybody who does BDSM does or even knows about. So both within and without the community, um, within and outside the community, we've been able to kind of educate people and introduce people to this because some people, I mean, for some people, this isn't sexual at all. This is just fun. This is just them getting to turn their brain off and be a pup for a while. And that's a concept that not everybody is familiar with, even in the BDSM community, that you can just do this and have fun. And it doesn't have to be heavy BDSM, and it doesn't have to be all whips and chains. Sometimes it's snuggles and dog treats. that applies to BDSM as well. It can be soft, it can be, very intense, it can be exactly what you see in porn, or it can be whatever you want to make it. With pet play especially, there's so much you can do with it, where some people, it is much about training and obedience and being rigid and that kind of dominance and submission. And for others, it's just being a silly puppy. And sometimes it's not even a puppy. Sometimes it's a kitty. Sometimes it's a bunny. I've seen birds. I've seen dragons and lizards and chickens and ducks and all sorts of different animals, because you really can let your imagination go wild. And I did make that on purpose. There's so much you can do with pet